think of what after workout story time was going to be. And, a lot of things going on right now I can't really comment upon, even at this level of anonymity. So, this year I'm doing my maintenance of certification project with the National Boards certification. So, I did the initial certification. I started it in 2011, finished it in 2012. 2011, I believe, is when I got the project to begin with, sent it in, blah, 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 took the tests. Then in November of that year, I got my scores back, and I think I made it a 253, and you had to pass with a 255 or something like that. I missed it by 2 freaking points, which is not bad considering I didn't start until after spring break, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't study for the tests because I thought, how much do they even expect me to remember from music history and world music? Like, they surely can't expect too much. Oh, well, they did. They expected quite a bit. So, those 2 points, when I got done, I said, what am I going to do? Because you have a year to retake, or you did at the time. I think they've changed the process now. I was like, you know what? I'll just study for the test this time. So I retook 2 of the tests, and, after studying, knocked it out of the park. So, I had to, trace the development of the motet, things like that. Things that we think about every day. But this year we're doing the maintenance of certification. They used to call it renewal, and you did it every 10 years. Well, I got to be in the first group of people that they changed it to every 5 years. Ugh. So every 5 years I have to drag all this stuff out and rehash it. It really, it is a good thing, and it's in some ways an enjoyable process, because you get to sit there and think about, what have I done since the last time I did this? What have I learned? What have I changed? What is different since then? Now, the first time after the initial 10 years, from 2012 to 22, the maintenance of certification, you have a window of 2 years to start it. So, for instance, this year, I'm turning it in, but if I don't pass it, I have another year to try and hope that I pass it, or it just poof disappears. Hopefully that will not be the case. But you do the first 10 years, and I was like, okay, well, what have I learned in the last 10 years? And I had so much to talk about, it was too much. In that period of time, I had become, from an assistant director to a head director. I'd gotten a CDL and started driving buses. I had started a program with my students to bring in retired directors to come in and help them during school hours, because we were on a block schedule and it worked great. I forget what all else. Oh, the boosters, talking about getting them in a place where they were organized and fundraising well and supporting the group and whatever. Then the other thing I talked about was integration of technology. And let me tell you, in 2021, I had a lot to talk about integrating technology, because we had just, I'll put it like this. In the 1920 school year, I didn't have a desktop computer in any of the schools I went to. I had an ancient laptop that was 10 to 15 years old that had been bought by the boosters, that I was trying to make limp until it just wouldn't go anymore. I remember it was dying to install Windows 10, maybe, and I kept telling it, no, I don't think we better do that. No, let's not do that today. No, ask me again next week. Until one day I turned it on and it was just like, update now, and I couldn't make it stop. I tried to restart it and unplug it and do everything, and it I know this is not your piece of equipment, but will you help me, please? And somehow they made it be Windows whatever, 7, Lord, whatever it was. Anyway, so in 2020, when we came back to school, I got a laptop, and I'm like, wow, I've joined the 21st century. Finally. I mean, I should have had a desktop the whole time. That's ridiculous. But anyway, I had a laptop. They gave us a bunch of training in like the Google Suite, which, you know, at this point, maybe that was a good thing, maybe it wasn't, but whatever. Now we're one-to-one Chromebooks pretty much all over the state because of all the funding we got, you know. So I had a lot to talk about. There was a lot of online resources at that point that have now disappeared. But yeah, so I had a lot to talk about then. Well, here we are 5 years later. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about all the things that I've learned since then. Mainly during this period, I have realized that we're the old people now. And it's time for us to pass down everything we can to these young folks because we are about to retire and there's going to be a mass exodus. And I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of problems in public schools. I feel like they're going to have real issues finding teachers, especially teachers of any experience. The other one, taking technology out of the classroom because I think it can be quite disruptive, and I think it's not great for our students' behavior, their dopamine receptors, and their, you know, executive dysfunction and all of that, dysregulation. Yeah, evolution.